Reddit, what is your r/NOSLEEP story that actually happened? While living with some friends, I got up late at night to get a drink of water from the kitchen. I didn't turn on any lights, having no trouble navigating in the dark. As I crossed through the living room, I heard some movement type noise or something and assumed it was one of my roommate's pet cat. Go to the kitchen, drink water, leave kitchen. On my way back through the living room, I hear movement noises a lot louder than an old cat should make, and I glance around. There on the couch, in the very dark living room, is a shape, roughly child-sized, with bright red eyes staring directly at me. I froze. The fear was so sudden and strong that it is in fact giving me goosebumps now. I very slowly stepped backwards, not daring to even blink as I watched the red orbs watch me. After several agonizingly long seconds, I reached the kitchen light switch, ready to defend myself, when this goblin thing was sure to attack me. Click, it was my other roommate's chinchilla. It had opened its cage and escaped from their room. It was sitting on top of a pile of laundry, a child-sized chinchilla. Just realized it was sitting on a pile of laundry. Chinchildren. I was about 19, living with a roommate going to college, while living in an apartment complex. Occasionally I get mild bouts of insomnia, but nothing serious. Usually just a delay in my bedtime of an extra 2 or 3 hours. One night I suddenly just cannot sleep. Nothing will get me to relax, and I eventually give up and just sit in the front room playing Heavy Rain all night, as it had just come out a few days ago. The next day, when I head off to work exhausted with 0 hours of sleep, I got a text from my roommate. Dude, the police are all over the apartment complex. Apparently 9 apartments, including our downstairs neighbor, were broken into last night with people home sleeping. Some people even reported things being stolen from the rooms they were sleeping in. It hit me that had I not stayed up all night and left the light on in the front room, I would have been robbed or worse. Edited. I did not go to college in an apartment complex. You couldn't sleep because there were enemies nearby. Chilling out in apartment. You picked the wrong day to get lost. Friend. When I was in 5th grade, some guy who was mentally ill had a meltdown somewhere in Chicago. Apparently he shot and killed some random guy and stole his car. He drove up I-94 towards my suburb, got off the highway, and drove straight into my neighborhood. It's very close to the exit, and just started shooting sporadically at people's houses. He somehow wound up in my backyard, which is full of trees BTW, and was just shooting in every direction. I can still vividly remember brake lights in the middle of the otherwise pitch black woods and sparks from the gunfire going off in every direction. The cops showed up and shot him to death. Luckily no one was hurt, but my neighbors did find a bullet in the middle of their mattress. Fireworks are not so fun anymore. The cops showed up and shot him to death. Luckily no one was hurt. Had a chuckle at that one. He's dead, not hurt. Posted this before, but it's one of my family's favorite stories. My uncle called my mom one morning and told her this. I have 4 little cousins who never got to meet my grandfather. He passed before they were born. One morning, they ran downstairs for breakfast as they usually do. As my uncle was getting their food ready, one pointed to the fridge and said, "That's him." My uncle, not thinking much of it, said, "Who?" and looked over. They were pointing at a picture of my grandfather that they never got to meet. My cousin responded, "The man that comes and talks to us at night until we fall asleep sometimes." Apostrophe. Not horrifying, but still eerie. This story is not mine. It's my grandfather's. Backstory. This takes place in West Virginia in the 20s. My grandpa is the youngest of 9 and his family is very poor. They all live in a 1-room house. My grandpa's sister suddenly got sick and quickly fell into a coma. They say she had a fever and would shake and even sit up in the middle of the night, even though she was not conscious. She got progressively worse over the next few days and needed some sort of help. My grandpa and his oldest sister Glenna stayed behind, while the rest of the family went to the neighbor's house 10 miles down the road for some food and medicine. As soon as the family got home that night, their mom went to the sister's bed and started to put a cold cloth on her head. Immediately her eyes flew open for the first time in days and she looked her mother right in the eyes and said, "The Lord wants Glenna." She fell back and twitched before going back into unconsciousness. The next morning Glenna and the sister had died. The younger sister died from the fever, and Glenna died from unknown causes. So I had this whistle that was pretty shit. It was super obnoxious, with this terrible, but very distinctive, sound. It was like the death cry of a goose, followed by a rattling noise. It always hung off a bright orange lanyard, which I'd hook on the door handle of my front door. Every morning, I'd get up and see the awful whistle hanging from my door. Now, right next to my front door was a window that didn't quite latch. It wasn't open all the time, but if you pushed on it for long enough, it would give way. One night, it was raining hard as hell. I woke up at 4 AM to the sound of banging downstairs. I assumed the wind had blown the window open, and I didn't want the carpet to get soaked. So I got up and went to close it up again. Sure enough, the window was wide open. As I went to close it, I heard something out the window. In the distance, I heard the ducking whistle. It was gone. The lanyard and the whistle were off the handle, and someone was blowing the whistle somewhere out in the storm. I checked the house top to bottom. Nothing else was stolen, just the whistle. I fixed the window. Sounds like one of your neighbors hated your whistling. All of the alarms in my house went off at exactly midnight. Then later in the night, all of the phones in my house rung at exactly 3 AM. I watched the Babadook the day before with my girlfriend. Needless to say, I was terrified. The boy in that movie was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen better child acting. When he's in the backseat and being attacked, it was insane. I've also never gone from hating a character so much to end up rooting for them in the end. Yeah, exactly. The kid was so ducking annoying in the beginning, and then becomes more understandable as it goes along. Since the story is told from the mother's point of view, you're supposed to find him annoying, because that's how the mother feels about him when the movie starts. My daughter slept in the bed with me for a few years after her father and I had divorced. Probably ages 3 through 6 or so. My bed was against the wall, and she slept on the side of the wall. I slept on my side facing her, so my bathroom was to my back. We had not fallen asleep yet, but had just been laying there being quiet and still. All of a sudden, she says, "Mommy, why is there a man standing behind you?" My body turned ice cold, and it felt like all of the blood drained out of my body. I finally got up the nerve to turn over and look. There was nobody there. She had said it so seriously, but the little toot was totally joking. I have never been so scared in my life, and to this day I will not sleep with my back facing that bathroom door. This was 13 years ago, and that is exactly why I do not want children. Hunting with father-in-law. It's well before sunup, maybe 5 AM, and we hiked to a patch of trees and sat down. Him maybe 70 yards south of me with me facing out into a clearing. He had a flashlight, and I didn't have one on me at the time. It was so dark you couldn't see a hand in front of your face. After about 20 minutes, I hear something really big walking maybe 10 yards in front of me. From the sound of the leaves/branches breaking, it sounded human-sized. It startled me, and I loudly called for my father-in-law to turn on the flashlight. Right in front of me, where the noise was coming from, I hear his voice say, "Nah, it's cool." Apostrophe. The noise happened again about 10 minutes later, and I called out to him, assuming it was him making the noise. No response. So I made my way over to his camp and asked him if he had just walked near me. He said he hadn't gotten up the whole time and was confused why I would have heard his voice. Skinwalkers. Man, that's the most chill skinwalker ever then. Nah, it's cool. Don't shine the light over here. I'm not like masturbating or anything, so you don't need to double check, because I'm not. Apostrophe. Home from grad school during Christmas break. Sleep still ducked up from finals, aka caffeine, and worse overusages. So at 4 o'clock AM, I'm downstairs at my parents' house, reading the original Dracula, Bram Stoker's. When Dracula wants to go to England, he hops on boat. During the voyage he kills all crewmen, the last of which he lashes to the helm of the boat. The steering wheel gizmo, still steering, though dead. As the boat crashes into the coast of England, dead people don't dock for shit. Dracula changes himself into a dog. He jumps from the boat, and as he lands, a huge bolt of lightning strikes. Much thunder ensues. At that exact moment, A huge bit of thunder and lightning outside my folks' house. December thunderstorms pretty rare in Midwest. So I levitate from the couch like the lightning had hit me directly in the ass. So freaked out, and probably still a little whacked from finals, that I got a butcher knife from the kitchen and wandered all through the downstairs area. Finally going upstairs to my bedroom with knife. No idea what I thought I was looking for. If I'd seen a dog, I probably would have stroked out then and there. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.